Isn't it also their duty to listen to us as men, to be obedient to us?
Ask them, bro. Don't ask me.
So do the damn dishes, man. Cook my dinner, man. What's this long thing? Do you know what I mean?
Astaghfirullah, guys. This is the modern Muslim man today. This is what's happened to the ummah. Like, who is this brother? You can't be serious, bro. What were you thinking?
All right, bro.
Are we saying that's Danesh 1.0? Now we got Danesh 2.0?
No, mate, listen, let's get to the bottom of this, mate. First of all, newsflash that I didn't know, all right? Apparently, people on the internet, especially Muslims,
Mighty sensitive.
they don't have a sense of humor, mate. Come on. So, all right? Second of all, that clip, completely miscontextualized, all right? Was not put into his whole parcel. I don't know, how do you contextualize that? And listen, look. Now, I'm not saying, yeah. Look, before I dig myself a bigger hole, let's introduce the topic today, mate. Should men help out with household chores? Boom.
Very nuanced question, bro.
I have an answer. The answer is actually another... No, it's not another question. It's another answer. I have an answer. The real answer to that, which you don't really get time on these kind of shows with many people to kind of give a real thought through idea, right? You kind of got snippets that are responding to other snippets that are just like snippets here and snippets there without full answer, right? This is my answer, my real answer. Should men help out with household chores? Men should be kind to their wife. I'll say it again. Men should be kind to their wife. In which way, shape, and form that manifests itself. One of the sisters at the time, actually, on the podcast, she actually said, listen, the kitchen, that's my zone. Don't come anywhere near it. You'll mess it all up. All right? This is my thing. I'm in my zone. I'm in my element. Blah, 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 blah.
May Allah give her a palace in Jannah.
I mean, listen. It sounds as though if your wife is one of those sisters, you probably shouldn't help out with household chores because she'll probably find you annoying. Okay? So that's a scenario where you shouldn't. Okay? Cool.
Oh, so you're saying not all women are the same?
Not all women are the same, mate.
Really?
Who would have thought it, mate?
Oh, really?
Who would have thought it, mate? Yeah? Listen, in general, the general principle you should have in your marriage is be kind to your missus, all right, as a husband, all right? That can manifest itself in many ways. For example, you see her carrying something, mate. You ask if she needs help. In general, if you see your missus struggling with anything, ask if she needs a hand, mate. You don't kick your feet up while she's struggling with whatever else in the world she's doing. Here's the thing, mate. Me and you are pals, mate, all right? If I see you struggling with anything, I'm going to ask you if you need a hand, all right? Hey, do you need a hand with that? Yeah, let me come help you. Boom, boom, boom. All right. Now, cool. So, that's that, I hope. All right. So, in general, if your missus needs help with household chores, should you help her? If she genuinely needs help, right? Sure, you should help her. But this is the thing. This is what I want to get to the bottom line of. All right. Context, number one. Okay. You are a man. You are providing for your wife. You're paying for everything. You've got everything handled in her life. Everything paid for. Anything she needs, you cover. You're overall good husband, not bad husband. You'd be categorized as good husband.
Muslim husband.
Good Muslim husband. You're not an angry person. You're not a bad person. You're a kind guy. You're all right, mate. You know what I mean? You cover all the bills, this, that, the other. All right? Cool. Your missus, yeah? Context. There's no kids. There's no kids running around. She's not pregnant, for all the whatabouters, for all the exceptions and nuance. I'm giving this context.
You don't have mans in the house just throwing stuff around, breaking signs left and right.
Listen, good husband scenario, okay?
Is it true that UK mans are more dynamic, like with their micro expressions?
I think it's just me, mate. I don't know.
There's gonna be some sister clipping that on TikTok out of context, saying toxic podcast bro having a microaggression. First of all, I didn't know what a microaggression was until this year. What is that?
Brother, that's a whole nother part. Let me finish this context, mate, okay?
Absolutely.
So context, I have to go over it again. Sorry.
Mansplain a little bit more.
All right, I'm going to be mansplaining to all the sisters out there. Joke. Okay, listen. Husband, good guy, nice guy, covers all the bills, provider, whatnot, Muslim, etc. Wife, kicking it at home, all right? No kids, okay? In the scenario where there's no kids, in the context that she's kicking it at home, she's putting her feet up, you know what I mean, watching Netflix all day, getting some American Doritos, whatever, chomping on some Doritos. You come home, the house is a mess, and then she's like, oh, we should probably clean up now, shouldn't we? You probably shouldn't help her in that situation because she's taking the mickey, mate. You've been at work all day, she's been kicking it, watching Netflix, and you've come home, everything's a mess. Doesn't make sense for you to help out with cooking and cleaning and all these types of things because it's like, I've done my part in the marriage today. What's your part? Doesn't make sense, right? However, I know that's not most situations. Most situations that the sister is usually taking care of the home while her husband's away at work and is probably a good sister. And listen, let's just say she's been cooking and cleaning all day. You come home and you see that there is still more to be done. Should you help out? I'm inclined to say yeah. I'm inclined to say that you should offer to help out. Because if you see your wife struggling with anything and she's, been this genuine sister, she's done her part for the day, you know what I mean? She hasn't been just watching Netflix and eating Doritos all day. She's been, taking care of the home. Then should you help out? I'm inclined to say yes. I'll add another context. If there's kids, all right, and think that she's a very young children, they need a lot of effort and a lot of work, right? And you come home and she's struggling, juggling all these balls, right? And you have all these all this work to do. Then you come home and you see she's still working hard and she's been tired and working all day. Should you help out? I'm inclined to say yes. I don't necessarily think it's mandatory. However, I think, as I said from the beginning, you should be kind to your wife. Me personally, I don't necessarily see anything wrong with it. I'm not some guys on this tough guy stuff. They don't want to help out their missus with anything. I think that you need to take every situation reasonably. In the same breath, all right? I'll take it a step further, mate. If you've come home one day, right, and the cooking isn't done, and there's dishes in the sink, the dishes aren't done, all right? The house is a bit of a mess. Your initial reaction shouldn't be, in my opinion, oh my God, why isn't this done? My initial reaction, or at least the initial reaction I'd like to think I'd have, an initial reaction I would hope for anybody else to have, is to say, go to speak to your missus, say, hey, love, are you all right? Have you had a good day? Are you okay? Maybe she's not feeling well, mate. Maybe something's not going well right for her today. Maybe she's a bit depressed today. Maybe she needs a cuddle, mate. You go give your missus a cuddle, all right? You order in, you call for a pizza, mate, all right? You help out where you can, okay? Women are built a bit different to us. Even if there's no kids, whatever, women are built a little bit different to us, and you need to be gentle, mate. In the same breath that I say that, if you find yourself in a situation where you're coming home and everything's a mess all the time, and you've been that good Muslim husband, she's at home all the time, she's kicking it, she hangs out with her friends when she wants, you've given her that lifestyle, and everything's always a mess when you come home, and it's just, oh yeah, no, didn't feel well today, mate, and it's again and again and again, and you've had a serious chat, and you found out this isn't some kind of chronic depression that's happening, no, covering all the whataboutism bases, in which case, now your missus is taking the mickey, mate. Now you're taking a mickey. Now it's like, all right, mate, now I'm not going to help out with this, and we need to have a conversation because I'm playing my part in the relationship and you're not playing your part. Okay? You see the balance I'm trying to find here, mate. The balance between empathy and the balance between don't take the mickey. You know what I mean? That's what I'm trying to get at here. What's your thoughts on what I've said so far? Am I cancelable yet, Fayad? Is the mob coming after me again, mate? What's going on?
Look, I think you've been very diplomatic in your approach. I think there's nothing that you've said, matter of fact, that is cancelable. But I want to add to a little bit of the context. In a nutshell, I don't think that it's fair to expect a man to do anything, though. And this is what I'm going to get to. Yeah, you'll have good women that, let's say, when the finances are low, maybe they have a little bit of savings, maybe they can cut down on some expenses, right? Is it nice if a woman in that situation asks you as a man, as her husband, hey, how are we doing, love, with our expenses this month, with the money coming in this much from all the hard work that you do as the king of this house? What do you think it's going to look like? Should we cut down on some of the eating out? Should we do this? Should we do that? That's a good wife, right? If she doesn't ask me, does this make her a bad wife? No, because it's not her responsibility. As in, it's nice to have that. It's a very nice to have, but is it an expectation? No. Similarly, there's a lot of women that understand that it is their husband's expectation and their dynamic to hold down the house. So this thing that you're talking about in terms of the expectation for him to offer, I think that's a little bit of mental gymnastics, bro. I know a lot of women that, from my experience, they absolutely loathe when the man steps into the kitchen.
Yeah, yeah.
Trust me. Like, if I pick up something, if I go to grab myself something for just me, a lot of women, it makes them feel inferior. It makes them feel like they're slacking or they're lacking. So the second I get up, it's like, oh my God, just tell me to do it. Like, don't get it yourself. They don't like that. A lot of women, right? So many times the dynamic is set in a way where she wants to serve you. So she won't even be a woman that expects that help. I think a good woman, just like a good man, can be appreciative if she does ask, okay, how are we doing this month with the bills? I think a good man, again, would likely be inclined to offer the help. Why would he not be? We're supposed to be kind, right?
Kindness.
But to now say that he should be expected to offer, I think that's a little bit of a reach, especially with the sisters that say, you know, the Prophet ﷺ used to help out with the household chores. He would cook dinner. He would clean the dishes. This is all fabricated, bro. These are all lies. You know, the Prophet ﷺ, when he was with Khadija radiallahu anha, he wasn't even allowed to help out with the household duties and the chores and the cleaning things, cooking things. She wouldn't even allow that, radiallahu anha. What a proper woman. You know, there's a reason. There's a reason, you know, he was monogamous to her, because she was a very high quality woman, radiallahu anha.
Wow.
Now,
Interesting.
however,
Interesting
when
thing you just said there, mate. Go on.
Go on.
No, I love like when you said it good, very good. There was a reason he was monogamous to her. That's quite interesting.
So when the Prophet ﷺ was married to 9 wives, everyone talks about him going around making, you know, visiting all 9 of his wives in one single ghusl. He's a man, ﷺ. We know this, right? But what does the rest of the narration say? I'm sure you've heard about this, Danesh. A lot of sisters say he used to cook, he used to clean, right? No, it says he used to serve his family. How? Taking care of his, you know, stitching some things in terms of his clothing, milking the goats, fixing armor, this type of stuff. And not cooking and cleaning, bro. These are all things that sisters take out of context. So we have to realize that as a man, if you want to help, I think that every good man will. I don't think that you're a bad Muslim husband. I know you're not married, but if you were married, I don't think that you're a bad Muslim husband. Matter of fact, I know that. I don't think I'm a bad Muslim husband, inshallah. In these situations, we would step up. If our woman would be inclined a little bit to struggling, and, you know, I don't think we would just be out there, you know, kicking our feet up and just, you know, essentially taking a mickey as well.
Of course.
We would have rahmah for her. This is not even for the whataboutism. This is not even if she's pregnant, if there's kids. No. If just a normal dynamic, even if we're the sole providers and the breadwinners, inshallah, if she needs a little bit of help, at least we would be acknowledging that. At least we would be grateful of that, right? But I'm talking about the situations, at the very least, where as a man should help out. If he doesn't, if this is an expectation now that's the issue. I'm definitely against, I know you didn't bring this up, maybe you will, but I'm definitely against men that, and women that use a man's contributions to the household work to get a little bit of spicy time with their wife.
Oh, no.
Right? I'm sure maybe you've seen that, right? I want you to touch on that, because as a man, if you are expected now to do this, to get something in return, I don't think that's a good dynamic, because I think now you're stepping into something like, to me, bro, I know we'll talk about intimacy more in the future, but it's something you can't negotiate. You shouldn't negotiate desire. It shouldn't be something where it's like, I'll do half the dishes for 10 minutes of this funky time, and then I'll mow the lawn for this much minutes of this. And I really don't think that's a healthy dynamic. What do you think?
First of all, mate, what a great way to kill the bloody chemistry in the bedroom, mate. It's becoming a negotiation. It's becoming a trade, mate. Listen, nothing in your marriage should be a trade, mate. Listen, this is what I said at the beginning. I said this in another podcast, mate, with me and you, mate. I said, listen, you shouldn't be doing the things you're doing, in my opinion, for love in the marriage. You should be doing it for the sake of Allah. That means if you're trying to win the pleasure of Allah, number one, if you're doing something for the sake of Allah, you're always going to win it. Okay, you're always winning. All right, you're always doing, for example, it's a good deed. You know, there's no loss when you're doing a good deed. Okay, you're not losing anything, right? And you do it with the expectation from Allah, not from your missus, not from your husband. I know it's a lot easier said than done. I know it's a lot easier said than done. I'll say that again, mate. You know what I mean? Because sometimes you've got to say things twice. Yeah.
Mhm.
It's a lot easier said than done because your heart feels heavy, because you might feel there's an injustice. Sisters might feel like my husband isn't doing X, Y, Z, and yet I'm doing all my role, and I feel it's hard. That's why you put in the intention. You're going to do it for the sake of Allah, and you'll get good deeds back, and it'll help to put your heart at ease a little bit. Like I said, easier said than done. Yeah. Same with the brothers. Now, you were talking about trading. Okay. This whole
You said trading?
trading,
Yeah,
as in,
like transactional.
yeah, you do the dishes, I'll give you some time in the bedroom. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
One plate equals 1 extra minute.
No, just joke ting, bruv.
Mm.
Joke ting, bruv. Yeah. Listen, you should be doing everything you're doing out of kindness and out of the wanting the love and the blessings from Allah. Do you get what I'm saying? When the guy goes to work, he shouldn't be thinking, well, I go to work and therefore my missus should do X, Y, Z. He should be doing, no, I'm going to work to be the provider, to be the man that Allah wants me to be. If you put your heart on the, what's the word I'm looking for? On the, not expectation.
Entitlement.
Not entitlement. You're doing things for the sake of the pleasure of others and getting some good feedback from others.
A little bit outcome dependent or validation.
Yeah, you want the validation of other people. You expect them to give you a pat on the back. You're going to find yourself sorely disappointed. People will always let you down, and it's the nature of human beings. Even if they love you, people will let you down, mate. It's not always coming from a bad place. Maybe your missus just didn't notice. Maybe she just didn't realize.
I was just gonna say that.
Do you know what I mean? And vice versa. If you're doing something nice for your husband, maybe he didn't realize. Maybe he didn't realize the effort you put in that day. You know what I mean? By the way, for husbands and wives, try to acknowledge the efforts of your partners if you can.
There's levels to it. Sometimes women will take 1 millimeter off their hair and be like, "Did I do anything different today? Do you notice something different?" And you're here trying to be like, "The house looks the same."
Mate, you gotta be quick with the words in that situation. If you notice something different, you just gotta say, you know what? I'll be honest with you. I'm not really sure, but I'll tell you what, love. Just something about you just looks really beautiful today. I'm just really attracted to you. I don't know what it is you've done. I don't know if there's something going on, but wow, you're stealing my heart away. Now, there's no way she can get mad in that situation, mate. Even if she didn't do anything to her looks, maybe she'd painted the wall behind you blue, mate. You know what I mean? But you complimenting her in that way, you're not gonna lose that conversation. You know what I mean?
That halal riz, bro.
You gotta have some riz, mate. You gotta be a bit smooth. You know what I mean? You gotta have some quick words, mate. And there's nothing wrong in having quick words to compliment your missus, mate. You know what I mean? So yeah. So in terms of trading, don't do that, mate. Do it for the sake of Allah. Be kind for the sake of Allah. All right. What's your thoughts on that, mate? Do you see that a lot with your coaches, in your coaching sessions?
Yeah, absolutely. When I deal with a lot of my clients, many of them do things expecting things in return, expecting feedback. And I wanted to actually touch on this, but you said it beautifully. They expect too many things and they expect people to notice. I'll give you an example, right? And it's a little scary, bro, when you really study Islam. Remember the hadith I was telling you a day or two ago? Remind me if you remember. It was about the sadaqah. Like it won't be expected or something.
You drop a lot of knowledge on me, mate. I'm trying to remember all the knowledge.
But it was something along the lines of you should give with your right hand such that your left doesn't even notice, or one of the things we'll be punished for, I believe, will be for doing things just to be noticed, not for the sake of Allah, something along those lines, right? So let's say I'm going out and I noticed, you know what? My wife is always working hard in the house. She's cleaning everything. It's all taken care of. Kids are asleep. They're taken care of. And I noticed that, on the coffee table, there's a little bit of, let's say there's a wrapper there, right? And let's say I'm, you know what? I want to be a good husband. I want to help her out a little bit. Let me take that wrapper. It's on the way. It's not always 100% you're a man, 100% she's a woman. Not that you're not a man and she's not a woman, but in terms of domestic duties, it shouldn't always be so like by the book, bro. This is not trigonometry. Would you agree? It shouldn't be exactly like 50.0%, 50. It's a tennis match. Sometimes things happen. This is life, bro. So there will be times where, let's say you see this and you shouldn't, as a man, be like, oh my God, I'm going to slip out of my masculine frame to go throw that wrapper. What is this, bro?
Joke thing.
Yeah, joke thing. You pick up that wrapper, you throw it, boom, good to go. And you're at work and you're just doing your thing and you're like, I didn't get a text from my wife. Couple hours go by. I didn't get a text from my wife. You come home. Now you're acting like the woman. Excuse me, babe. Did you notice anything different? She's like, no, not really. Joke thing, bro. At that point, you care too much about that. It should be, I'm doing it for the sake of Allah. Or if I really love my wife, let me just do it. I don't need that little bit of a pat on the back. And many times, women, unfortunately, I'm not going to say this is a bad thing, but if you're strictly thinking logically as a man, it could get frustrating. Why am I doing my stuff? Why is she doing her stuff? We're taking care of each other's, our own domains, but she still expects a little bit of recognition. Well, they're social creatures, bro. They're emotional. They're not like us. If your missus just has a smile on her face, she's taking care of the house, you already know she's respecting what you do, grinding all day. You don't need to be told that, oh my God, Danesh, thank you for bringing in this much this month. Come on, bro. Thank 100%. You for giving me this. Bro, come on. But as a man, I know a lot of the extreme Muslims that are a little bit more cultural and old-fashioned, and they think that a man just does this and a woman does this. They might be like, you know what? She's supposed to do that. I think it's a very fine line between that and starting to be ungrateful. So yes, while I completely agree with you and many of the brothers that they say that sometimes, women just don't notice. Sometimes men don't notice, right? I think the deeper issue has to come from within, right? It's not they didn't notice or they did this or they did that or we don't know the context. But sometimes it's, why do I require this? Why do I need to hear this?
Yeah.
And you touched on it beautifully. It's not Allah-centric anymore. It's external feedback, validation, reassurance. Now it's a little bit of a problematic thing, especially with men, because unfortunately, this is something that a lot of people get misconstrued today. The nikah quite literally is a contract, bro. Love is something that has to be there. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, we've put passionate love and mercy, rahmah, in between you guys, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also says, we've given you your woman, your wife, so that you might find tranquility in her. Of course, right? Or we've created spouses from among you, from you, right? Because they're from a rib, subhanallah. Perhaps so that you might find tranquility in them. So we know this. But at the same time, bro, if you're doing your stuff, she's doing her stuff, it shouldn't be an expectation. You should want to help, right? Depending on the person, but it shouldn't be an expectation. And I want to draw this line very firmly because a lot of brothers and sisters will say, what's the harm in it? And they don't understand the difference between fard or sadaqah, or as in something you have to do as a man and something that's nice. A good man should. Wouldn't you agree? But if he doesn't, does that make him a bad man now? This is what I want to touch on.
Interesting. So you're saying, well, if he doesn't offer, is he now a bad person?
A lot of sisters might say yes. And my challenge is, why does that make him a bad man? Maybe he's just socially unaware. Maybe he had such a busy day that he's like, you know what? I was only supposed to do this, but I went this hard just for my family, just for the kids coming. So he comes home and maybe he's just like, you know what? I'm just battered. The fact that I even came home late, worked like 14 hours.
Yeah.
They're just like, I'm chilling. Just let me do me. And you have the typical woman who's like, dinner's late or something. And she's like, are you serious? You're just going to be sitting down there while I'm struggling with this? I think that's a little bit of a, come on, what do you think?
I think, you know what? Again, look, it's hard because when you're actually in a marriage, mate, when you're actually married, when you're actually living with someone, it's all good and well to hear people say, just do things for the sake of Allah and just this and just that. But to actually implement it is quite difficult. It's very difficult, You have all these emotions tied in, you're tired, you're stressed. There's so many things going on, mate, in your head. So, and in your body and your exhaustion and et cetera, et cetera. So, and also you're looking at certain patterns and you're reading certain patterns over a certain period of time in a certain type of way, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
What do you mean patterns?
Oh, like maybe he never offers, or he never this, or he never that, and you don't know why. So this is I'm queuing this up to give my next point, which is in advice for a marriage. Again, advice for a marriage is hard to implement, my brother. Marriage is tough, so I'm not trying to give this advice out willingly, like just do things for the sake of Allah. It's not as simple as that, mate.
Oh, I agree.
That's the thing. That's the thing you need to reflect on, and that's what you need to try and implement and try to remind yourself on. Very hard to do, brother. Very hard to do. So the next piece of advice I'm going to give is assume the best. Assume the best. He hasn't offered. Okay? maybe he hasn't offered because he didn't notice, and maybe this and maybe that, and you give him excuses. Same with your wife.
But within reason, right?
Within reason, yeah, of course. There's always that within reason caveat, to the point
Yes.
where this guy is now taking a mickey, you know what I mean? Like, you're doing some dishes, he comes over, he burps, he finishes his little plate of egg and beans, and he puts the plate in, oh, thanks love, and just walks away, you know what I mean? And he's just, which isn't, there's ways of doing it, mate, you know what I mean? There's ways of, like, maybe just creating more mess without considering that you just cleaned up the settee, for example. You just cleaned up the living room, he's gone in with his dirty shoes, kicked up his shoes, and now you're taking a mickey. You know what I mean? Like, try to have, number one, a little bit of finesse with your missus, a little bit of riz, with your missus, you know what I mean? And number two, there's ways of doing things, ways of communicating. So there's always that limit of, now this guy's taking a mickey, you know what I mean? But when I say assume the best, I'm saying, for example, so sisters, maybe you can say to yourself, maybe he didn't notice. Maybe he doesn't realize. Maybe we can communicate more. You put a solution alongside the assuming, a conversation, a communication alongside the assuming the best, and vice versa with the brothers. Maybe she doesn't realize that, you know, like, maybe, I don't know, she's tired that night. You're trying to give her some hints that you want to get it cracking. She doesn't realize she's off to sleep, right? Perhaps, you know, assume the best. Maybe she would have, you know, she would have been more open, let's say. I'm trying to think of a nice way to put it.
Receptive.
More receptive. There we go, Fayad. Maybe she would have been more receptive, but she just genuinely didn't realize you were trying to drop some hints, mate. You know, maybe just communicate. Just say, hey, you know, like, maybe just say it outright, mate. Hey, I want to get a cracking. You know what I mean? Maybe, try to do it in a more rizzed up way, of course. Try to be a bit more like, you know what I mean, with a bit more finesse. But assume the best. Assume the best. The shaitan is going to come to you and put these wicked thoughts in your mind about your missus, about your husband, and you just have to kind of keep fighting that off. The shaitan wants you to fight. He wants you to argue. He wants you guys to have problems. He wants you to think bad of your husband. He wants you to think bad of your wife. So both of you try to assume the best. Try to communicate with kindness. Communicate kindly in how you speak, and have patience for one another where you can. And remember, every bit of effort that you're putting in terms of kindness and patience, it's not going to waste. Allah is going to reward you for that. Do you know what I mean? And have sabr. You know, this life, unfortunately, the purpose of life, unfortunately, guys, is not for it to be a big Disneyland, mate. It's to have sabr, call people to good deeds. Do good deeds and call people to the truth.
Wow. Subhanallah. That's straight from the Quran.
Straight from the Quran, bro. And you know, like, you know, the scholars, if I'm not mistaken, they've said that Al-Asr, the surah, is sufficient, would have been sufficient for us. And to be honest with you, I just find myself constantly in these podcasts going back to Surah Al-Asr, which is quite interesting, actually. It's deep.
What is the succinct summary of just the fundamentals, bro?
Of the surah?
Of Surah Al-Asr.
I think I've gone over it once before.
No, I'm saying what a, like, succinct summary it is, the surah itself.
Oh, what's it?
Of the main Quran, the main, like, message, the fundamentals. What a perfect summary it is.
100%. 100%. So try to have that. Your marriage is a test for you. Your kids are a test for you. Your husband's a test for you. Your wife's a test for you. You're all a test for each other. Your parents can be a test for you sometimes, mate. You know, everybody you meet can be a test for you. Whole life is a test. So just try to have patience. Try to call to the truth, and try to do good deeds. And a lot easier said than done. And it's supposed to be a lot easier said than done. Otherwise, why are we here on earth? We'd just get the one-way ticket to heaven, mate. You know what I mean? But unfortunately, that's not the case. Am I making sense, Fayad? What do you think of what I've said so far, mate?
Absolutely. I mean, we covered everything that needs to be said. You know, in summary, at least for me, before I let you, you know, close off your points, as a man, if you are in a marital setting, there's a lot of things that you have to do from Allah. And I feel that the more you focus only on that, you get a little bit too cerebral with your husbandry, and it becomes a lack of rahmah in your tone. As a Muslim man, I have to put a roof over our head, food on the table, clothes on her. That's it. I don't have to buy her these nice shoes every month. There's a difference in opinion even that you don't even have to buy her medications. Subhanallah. Right? But now here's the thing. What man is going to be that cerebral with it? Of course not. So a message to the sisters is understanding anything more than the fara'id, you're already getting the lick. You're already getting a nicer lifestyle than you should be getting. Same with the men. A woman's job is to just be obedient, to cover her chastity, and in a traditional setting, take care of the home. Done.
100.
If she's already doing more than that, sometimes asking you, okay, how are we doing this month? Should I cut back on this? Should I cut down on the Amazon orders a little bit? Should I do this? Should I do that? You know, what is this? Could it be really good to make that holiday, or should we go a few months after? You're already getting more than what you should be in her end of the bargain, for sure.
Yeah.
So let's start being a little bit more appreciative. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, indeed, if you are grateful, I will increase you. And that is every facet of our dunya and deen, in terms of marriage, in terms of business. Why are we taking our wives and husbands for granted? We shouldn't be. We should be looking at them as humans too, that they have good days, they have bad days. As you said, brother, sometimes they'll do things or they'll fall short, and it's not personal, bro. It's not personal. Does this mean there are not women who weaponize intimacy to do things from the husband? These women exist. Manipulation. These women exist, right? But at the end of the day, we're talking in a general sense. If it's a good woman and a good man, everyone's human. As men, it doesn't make you less of a man to help out here and there. To be at the very least, willing to. I think the bigger issue here is the mindset. If you as a man think that helping her makes you less of a man, whether you help or you don't, mate, that's irrelevant. You're a lesser man. But if you think helping her is from abundance, not scarcity, like if I help her, one extreme is, if I don't help her, then I'll be a man. That's one extreme. The simp extreme is, if I don't help her, I don't get any sugar. That's another extreme. We should be in the middle. Help her if you want to help her. At the very least, be acknowledging, be cognizant of her contributions and her work. And understand that if you do, it doesn't make you less of a man. Don't let the shaitan come to you, right? And say, oh, if you do this now, then she'll resent you, or she'll... No. There's a limit to it, obviously, right? If you start helping all the time, women have this tendency in La La Land that now it's an expectation. Are you supposed to do the dishes? No. But let's say you do the dishes today. Let's say you do the dishes tomorrow too. Let's say you do it Wednesday too. And now Friday comes around, you don't do the dishes. Because men are logical. To us, it's like, oh, I did 4 days. I wasn't even supposed to do any, right? To her, it's like, come on, what is this? Sometimes women get too caught up in that lifestyle, right? So it should be on an as-needed basis when you genuinely want to as a man, and it doesn't make you any less of a man, bro. That's all I'm going to say.
Bro, actually, do you know what? I know might want to wrap this up, but bro, I got a couple more things I want to touch on, actually.
Bismillah.
Yeah, so...
Absolutely, bro.
Number one, listen, I'm just going to go for it, right? Because there's so many things I want to cover. I'm going to hope I can remember all of them.
Inshallah.
Number one, can I ask you some personal questions, mate?
Bismillah.
Okay, let's go. Are you married, my brother?
Yes, I have one wife.
Okay, good. Yeah. I obviously know you have a wife, but just in case, I can't remember what you told the viewers. So yes, you have one wife. Cool.
Allah Mubarak.
All right. Personal question number one. Would you do the dishes at home if your missus was tired and she wasn't feeling great that day?
I'm going to be completely honest with you, bro.
Yeah.
I think I did the dishes. And she's watching this, so she knows I'm about to tell the truth. I think I did the dishes 1 to 2 times in my entire marriage.
Okay.
And none of those times were times where she was tired. They were times that I just wanted to out of abundance. I just generally looked at her, I'm like, I'm so appreciative of her doing this every day. I'm going to just do it one day. Let me just do it. And she was like, what is going on, you know? Were there times where she was tired? Yes. She still does it anyway and then chills.
Right.
So yeah, it's like even when she's tired, she beat me to it.
Gotcha.
But there has been 1 or 2 instances where I did the dishes, yes.
Oh, what was the
They're about to be like, oh, what a toxic male.
What was the reception when you did it?
Very appreciative.
Oh.
There was no entitlement. There was no expectation. Matter of fact, that's why she was appreciative. And she was like, wow, like, you know, is everything good? And she was very appreciative. Allah Mubarak.
And just for context, in case anybody, because I know what I'm trying to cover what about, you are the provider in your home. You cover everything, right?
I'm the sole provider.
MashaAllah.
Allah Mubarak and then
Allah Mubarak. Okay, cool. All right, gotcha. And the other question I had for you is, would you ever cook for your missus?
It's not would I. Have I? Yes.
Oh, yeah?
I make a mean. I don't want to. Okay, so here's the thing. To have ghayra over my marriage and to have protectiveness over my marriage, I'm not going to say what dish this is because ayn is a real thing. I was literally right about at the cusp of saying I make a mean this. I'll tell you off camera, but I don't want to say to the internet strangers. Not that you guys aren't family, but come on now. I don't like people overstepping my marriage. So I make a mean ethnic dish. It's not Bengali. I know I'm Bengali, but it's not a Bengali dish, but it's an ethnic dish. It's an Asian dish. And I made it once, right? And I believe another time I made her a burrito. Again, 2 times in my entire marriage.
Okay.
Not that I wouldn't do it, right? We don't have a barbecue yet.
Yeah.
When we get a barbecue, inshallah, I want to start grilling. It's a very masculine thing, right? And I just
100.
love barbecuing. I haven't thought about, it's not like a match in my mind, like a tally. How many times have I? No. I'm just being honest with you. Looking back at it, I've cooked 2 times in my marriage, and they were good. And I will take credit for this. Allah Mubarak. I'm about to let y'all in on something. I did teach my missus how to make my perfect rice recipe. If you ever go to an Asian restaurant and you have that sticky rice, you know the rice I'm talking about.
Sticky rice.
The perfect rice, right? Let me drop some game on y'all real quick. So you take 1 part rice to 1.5 to 2 parts water. An example of it, 1 cup rice, 2 cups water. The reason I say it's 1.5 to 2 times the amount, and I don't want you to forget your point because I know we're going on a little tangent. The reason I say it's 1.5 to 2 times is depending on how much of a washer you are. If you wash your rice, because you should rinse it right, it's a lot of dirt and chemicals and stuff in there. So when you wash your rice, if you drain it really well, then 2 parts water. But if you drain it in a way where there's a little bit of water still in there, then only get 1.5 times the amount of water. You put it in a pot, you set it to high, let it start boiling. As soon as it starts bubbling, as soon as it starts boiling, immediately lower the heat to simmer or low and put on a lid and specifically keep it that way for 13 minutes. It has to be 13 minutes, bro. I kid you not. I know it sounds a little methodical, right? I take this stuff very seriously, bro. You're a foodie too, so we're not playing around with this stuff.
We ain't playing around.
As soon as that's done, 13 minutes sits, turn off the stove, take it off, and leave it covered for 10 to 15 minutes. As soon as you open that pot, and you take your spatula and you just insert it into the rice. You didn't even scoop it. You just insert it into the rice to get your first serving. You will thank me, inshallah, and I'm going to get Sadaqah Jariyah for teaching you that proper rice recipe for the rest of my life. You're welcome, inshallah.
Halal Bros cooking sessions coming soon, mate.
Inshallah, why not, bro?
Okay.
Show them a side of us they didn't know.
I can make a mean scrambled eggs, mate.
Boom.
Scrambled eggs. Maybe I'll make that little fried egg for you too. Listen, I've got a couple dishes as well, actually, mind you. I've got good spaghetti bolognese, mate. But I feel like I told that to someone once, and they were like, "Oh, every guy can cook spaghetti bolognese." I was like, "Mate, what
I can't cook spaghetti bolognese.
Well, there you go, mate. Whoever told me that, there you have it.
I make a real... actually, a third thing. I've made her instant noodles once.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I could make wicked instant
Although
noodles.
I think I'm losing my touch in the kitchen now because I'm not like a single bachelor anymore. I used to have a lot more culinary prowess. It took me an hour to make instant noodles. I'm just giving you context, but it's really bad now. Like I've completely lost all of my kitchen riz. Took me an hour to make that instant noodles. You know it's instant for a reason, right? Took me an hour. 3-4 dishes were used. I don't know how that happened, bro. But I made it. Allahumma barik.
Allahumma barik, bro. You get the job done one way or another. Listen, I've got a couple more questions for you, but you've said this to me before, and I think it's worth saying as well. I think it's quite an important point to touch on here in this podcast, because I actually think of all the different things, like when I actually went on the podcast to talk about this, right? I talked about a few other things that day that didn't end up getting aired, right? This was a podcast that I was the cheekiest, yeah, because I thought that this wasn't a big deal. I thought cooking and cleaning, mate. You know what I mean? It's kind of a trivial thing. Little did I know, it's actually a hot topic, mate. It's actually a hot topic. And a lot of brothers and sisters feel quite strongly about this type of stuff, doing household chores. And it makes sense, to be honest with you, because everyone's getting married. And what's the kind of thing that's happening? Well, the guy's working, and everybody that's an average Joe or average Abdullah or whatever is working and or taking care of the home, you know, in terms of a marriage. Someone needs to take care of the home and someone needs to work. So it's actually a very hot topic. So I've got this question. You already given me the answer in private, but I want to ask you this question, which is, how easy is it to cook? Because sisters, man, you're not putting it that hard. No, you know what? I'm not going to make any jokes. Yeah, because I know sisters ain't got a sense of humor.
I'm going to make a joke right now because I know they love humor.
Go for it.
I'm going to ask you too.
Go for it.
And I'm going to ask the camera. How does a woman tell the time?
First of all,
off the stove.
Okay. Oh my God. Oh, don't TikTok me, bro. Listen. What was I going to say? I'm going to ask you, how much effort is it to cook? Because I think it may be undermined as to how difficult that actually is.
I want to I'll give a quick little disclaimer right now. A lot of brothers, unfortunately, they have this misconception that all my wife does is cooks and cleans. No. Listen, it's work. Being a homemaker is work. Being a traditional homemaker Muslim in 2024 is work.
Yeah.
Back in the day, you got the village, you got the mother, you got sisters in the house, you got everyone. It's everyone. It takes a village to raise a child, right? You have everybody to help you. Today, unfortunately, no. It's very difficult. You can say all my wife does is work. Yes, you can say that. Because for a woman to go to a job and just be at a desk 8 hours, come home, that's easy, bro. That's easy. Especially if she's doing a transaction just for money, right? For her to cook, to clean, just chopping vegetables, bro. Listen, as a man who's trying to be high fitness, going to the gym, right? Sometimes when I cut some vegetables, I'm like, no way. She does this every day. Just prep takes like 30, 40, 60 minutes. Making those vegetables, cooking the dish, cleaning, vacuuming, spot cleaning, you know, doing all this laundry, folding. I don't think I've done laundry once in my entire marriage. Not a single time, bro. Allah my barik.
They're coming for you now, brother.
That's why a lot of women that are like, oh, brother, I want to marry you. Do you know what you're up against? Like, straight up. Doing all this stuff, it's tough. On top of that, making sure that, you know, positive vibes, everything's on point is difficult, bro. It's a lot of work. For a woman that genuinely wants to do it, right, it takes a lot of work. However, this being said, even if you don't believe me that it is a lot of work, try it out. A lot of men watching this are single. They're in uni, they live on their dorm, they cook for themselves, they clean for themselves. It's not easy, bro, especially when you throw kids into the mix, bro. Very difficult. Very difficult. So to sum it up real quick, it's not easy. It's not supposed to be easy. Having a mentality that a woman only cooks and cleans, she's living the lifestyle. It's not true in all cases, bro. It's a lot of work. And that's why I believe the Prophet ﷺ said that a woman who obeys her husband, does her fara'id, guards her chastity, can enter Jannah from whatever gate she chooses.
Mashallah, when you put it like that, you know, people sometimes they think, oh, that's a simple thing to do. You know, you can get Jannah so easy. And in some regards, there is some simplicity to it, but it's actually a tall order, isn't it?
Obeying your husband, right? It's not always easy. Guarding your chastity, bro, you kidding with, like you said, today's beauty standards, 2024, social media validation, for her to just conceal that, very difficult. For us, our aura is a couple inches, bro. Think about that for a sec.
Guarding your chastity, does that cover like even hiding like your beauty from online and social media? Does that come under that?
Absolutely.
Umbrella.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Everything, bro. It's haya is more than a piece of fabric, bro.
So it's not easy. There you go. That's not easy, mate. Yeah.
And also, the last thing is the fara'id. You know, the part of the hadith, doing her fara'id, doing the obligation.
Oh, yes, of course. Yeah.
That itself is the most difficult.
Ramadan,
Most difficult, right? Not easy. So, yes, I get it, right? She's guaranteed Jannah, inshallah. She does all this. But all this, let's not make it seem like a walk in the park. Let's not make it seem like, oh my God, they have it so easy. Do they have it easier than us? In many regards, yes. Indeed, Allah gives for a man what is his, for a woman what is hers. Let's not compete with one another. Let's just play to our strengths and look out for the other one, inshallah.
100%. We're built differently, mate. We're built differently for different roles. So yeah, 100%. And like we've said this before, there's things that women can do that a man can't. And there's things a man can do that, you know, to be honest, like we actually said, women can kind of do it. It's just not in there. It doesn't really kind of fit them very well.
It's like
It doesn't fulfill them as much, you know. But something you said there in the middle of all that, yeah, right? You're saying it takes 30 to 60 minutes for prep, yeah?
Not even cooking.
Yeah, for prep. Listen, there's some sisters out there, mate. They're like, what, 30 to 60 minutes on prep? They got the techers on point, bro. They'll just bam, bam, bam. You know what I mean? Like,
no. I'm saying it took me.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
100%.
Absolutely.
So, like, in saying that,
The dish is done in 30 minutes. I'm like, what?
This is a skill-based
It
thing,
is,
mate. You
yeah.
know, some sisters, they got the techers on point, mate. Gordon, pap, pap, pap. You know what I mean? Ramsey, wow. You know what I mean? They got what do they call it when they make the fire go? Listen,
Flambe?
Is that flambe? I don't know.
Something like that.
I don't know, brother. Listen, so yeah, 100. There's some sisters that will have the techers on point with that stuff, mate. All right, last personal question that I'm going to ask you before I get on to the next point, and this is actually quite important. Yeah. So last thing I'm going to ask you is this. Okay. Is what general kind and do you know what, we can phrase it another way in case you don't want to answer it personally. What advice could you give to brothers for general kind gestures that you can do to your wife that may not include cooking and cleaning? What other kind of kind
I would
gestures?
hope they don't necessarily include cooking and cleaning. There's so much you could do.
What else can they do?
As a man, I'm going to give a very short answer to
Mm.
this first, before the long answer. Short answer, know your wife. That's all I need to say. Period.
100%.
Nothing else I need to say. Long answer, find out about her love languages. Find out about the drinks she likes. Find out about the things she likes to eat in terms of snacks. Find out about things that she like. Does she like massages? Does she like you to give her some cuddles, some words of affirmation? Is she a little bit more heady and requires more reassurance?
Mhm.
But in whatever aspect of her personality likes to be hit, you gotta hit that, bro, and you better be hitting that every single day. Whatever it is, do not be depriving her of that. She doesn't want to feel that you don't love her. Sometimes, unfortunately, and this is gonna be difficult, some men, bro, they do the most. Some men are doing too much. They're taking what you're saying into the extreme. They talk too much. Any little thing happens. Oh my God, baby, is everything okay? What's the problem? Women hate that, bro. When you're just every little thing, you know what I mean? Sometimes they're women, bro. It's a storm. It's a feminine chaos, you know? You got to be centered. So my point is, sometimes when it comes to your wife, you want to do these things. If you know your wife, it'll be easy. And it should be in a way where it's a treat. So she likes mystery. She likes intrigue, you know? Take some notes.
100%.
Not to what I'm saying only. Take some notes and put them, hide them around the house. Make a little scavenger hunt.
Oh.
You know, write a note in one place and say, give a riddle for the next hint. And the riddle is going to be something where the answer is going to be the kettle, and you're going to put it under the kettle. Now the next thing's going to be something else. Do stuff like that, bro. I'm creative like that. Let her kind of, you know, go around the house, find what it is, you know? Write a poem. Do something different. Write letters. How many people today, bro, the average marriage is just sending pictures of the genital. And there's a time and place for that, of course.
Yeah.
But come on, bro. Being eloquent, being a little bit more charismatic, you know,
Yeah.
write something. With some eloquence, you know, some professional vernacular. Not out here like send Bob. None of that, bro. Come
Yeah.
on. Just something very interesting, something like that. Hit her emotionally, bro.
Yeah.
Hit her very emotionally. That's the only way you should be hitting it. You should be very gentleman-like. Women love that riz. And I'm going to leave it with this. If you're running out of things to do, if you're like, oh, I don't know how to do this, you really haven't studied your wife, bro. Unfortunately, it is a study. It's an art, but it's also a science. You need to study her. You need to know her. You know, so a good man does these things without it being requested of his wife. Think of the wife that's like, did you notice anything about my hair? Or can we get this? Oh, I haven't had this in a while. It's like, you're already missing the mark on that. Is it still horrible if you get her those things then? No. But in her mind, she's like, this guy just, you know, he ain't it.
100%.
As they say, he's not giving, you know?
100%. You know, after you've said that, mate, there's going to be some guys making some foolish riddles, mate, that just unsolvable riddles that make no sense.
Roses are red.
The girl's going to be looking for some note in their house for the next 100 years, mate. I'm telling you, mate, you've lined some brothers up in the wrong way, mate. No, I'm joking. So cool. That's nice, man. I'm more of the romantic, to be honest with you, mate. I like the whole kind of bring home flowers and chocolates and all this and poetry.
If she likes flowers.
But this is the thing. Yeah, it's exactly right. You have to communicate with your wife first and find out what her love languages are and find out what she likes first. 100%. There is something happening, right? And we've kind of touched on this as well in terms of transaction, but we need to kind of outline it a little bit more, which is some sisters and some brothers. And this is actually how I found myself in that situation in that podcast, which is they start to play the rights game. Well, it's my rights that you should provide for me. And it's my rights that you should do this. And it's my rights that and this and the other, right? And the brothers are coming back and they're saying, well, in the Quran, it's my rights that you should obey me. Therefore, okay, obey me, cook my dinner, clean my dishes. We play the rights game, you know. Who would say something ridiculous like that? But, you know. So
It's me.
That is the rights game. Essentially, this is I want to say that this is, in the context of that clip, I was giving an example of the rights game. And I said it in the most obtuse way ever. I was being very provocative. And I knew that if I said it like that, I'd get views. And that was wrong of me. Cool, to say it like that. Is it true? Technically, yeah, it's true.
Of course.
It's true. And is the sister right in saying that? Yep, provide. It's my right that you should provide for me and pay for me. And she's also true.
Technically, yes.
Yeah, she could say that how she likes. But is this an effective way
No.
of
You've
communication
lost.
in a marriage?
No.
Is this healthy? Is this how you should be communicating with your spouse? To be clear, because clearly people. One thing, side note, I found out after doing that podcast that my most defining feature is my bald head, mate. All the insults started off with the bald guy, this, the bald guy's a waste man. I'm like, all right, I get it. I have a bald head. Just the guy with the purple jumper, perhaps. No, the bald guy, this, the bald. Okay, cool. Right. So this is another piece of advice I want to give. Don't play the rights game with your husband or your wife. All right. Do these things out of love. You're looking for the pleasure of Allah. If you play this rights game, you're going to find yourselves miserable at each other's throats, and it's going to be very toxic. If your husband provides for you, say thank you. If you've asked your missus to do the dishes or cook you dinner, she does it, say thank you. Be kind. Give each other a kiss on the cheek, mate. Yeah, we're not going to get any further than that in this podcast. We're trying to keep it PG, mate. Yeah, give each other a kiss on the cheek. Give each other a little cuddle and say thank you. Be kind to one another. Don't play the rights game. The rights game is a lose-lose for both people, and find you both miserable, and we'll find you on podcasts saying to cook my dinner and clean my dishes. So don't play the rights game, all right? Be kind. And that's, I think, the emphasis here. I started this podcast off by saying, be kind. What should you do? Should you help out with household chores? I said you should be kind to your wife. You should also be kind to your husband. Be kind, okay? That is what we started. I find that we're kind of wrapping up now. I get the impression. So that's kind of what the note I want to leave this on as well.
Absolutely.
Don't play the rights game. Be kind to one another. Do things for each other which the other one would likes it, and listen and communicate. Couple of last things I want to say. Disclaimers, okay? I do not advocate for leaving your missus to go give birth in a hospital while you stay at home and go back to sleep. Okay? That's
absolutely not, bro.
Bro, I didn't say I'm a smiler, all right? I like to smile. Sorry, one last thing I want to say. There was a guy on TikTok, right? Okay. This guy, he was like, because there's a lot of people cussing me, right? And I'm like, all right, cool. You give, you got to take. That's the rule of banter. You give some banter, you be a bit cheeky, you have to be able to handle it. You have to take. So I was taking the smoke. There was one guy on TikTok. He was like, listen, this guy threw me off completely, all right? He was like, look at this guy in the background. Yeah? Look at his stupid eyebrow. And I have my eyebrow like this, yeah? Because I do my eyebrow like that sometimes. He's like, look at his eyebrow. Look at his bald head. And I'm like, oh, yeah? My eyebrow, my bald head, yeah? He's like, yeah, looking like Dwayne Johnson. I'm like, The Rock?
That's a compliment, bro.
I love The Rock.
Yeah.
Bro, the whole reason I learned how to do the eyebrow thing, I was a kid.
You got the Wi-Fi waves too, just like The Rock on your forehead.
Yeah, there you go, bro. The whole reason I can do the eyebrow is because I used to like The Rock when I was a kid, mate.
That's it, boom.
You know what I mean? So if you smell what The Rock is cooking, know your role and shut your mouth.
And before we wrap it up, I just want to give a quick thing too. As a man, what you said, if you're playing the rights game, a woman loses a little bit of attraction for you. Because it's less of actual submission, actual desire, and more of Allah says you have to put me in bed, therefore put me in bed. Come on, bro. What? That's the least thing you could do, bro. Come
100%.
on. Allah says you have to obey me, therefore, come on, bro. Come on. You want her to give you that intimacy. You want her to want intimacy more than you.
100%.
You want her to want pleasing you more than you want to enforce being pleased because of Allah in a healthy, desirable dynamic. But with this being said, bro, what can they look out to for next week? It's a very juicy topic, isn't it?
Chat to me.
Why are Muslims allowing others to be involved in their marriage, bro?
That's a good topic.
And we got a crazy story right now about a sister. We're going to say it in the beginning of the next podcast, obviously.
Yeah.
But there's apparently, Danesh, there's a story about a sister who essentially didn't give her husband in the first night, something like that. Let him stay forward to that, inshallah. With this being said, boys and girls, smash that like button, comment down below. Camera zoom in on this. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Boom.